After sailing 500 miles from South Africa and spending 4 nights at sea, we are approaching a new country. A country with a natural environment unlike anything we have experienced before. This is Namibia. We are Matanami. We have spent the last 6 years sailing our 37-foot sailboat Florence around the world. In that time we have crossed 3 oceans. Over 36,000 miles have passed under our keel, and we are now closing in on our goal, to complete our circumnavigation.
Before us lies the Atlantic Ocean, which we will now cross twice in order to reach the shores of England once more. It's just coming up to 7 and we've actually been able to sail through most of the night. We're just arriving outside Luderitz and we just should be able to go into the port as the sun's coming up.
Good timing.
Yeah, perfect really.
Even after 6 years of voyaging around the world, sailing Florence into a new country still sends tingles down our spines. Luderitz port control, sailing yacht Florence, channel 1-2, over.
Good morning, Sendo.
Good morning, sir. We are an international sailing yacht arriving from Cape Town, South Africa, requesting permission to enter the harbour, please. We are 1 mile from the entrance, over.
Fast carrier leaving port now on your way in. Just keep clear from traffic.
Great, thank you. We can see the bulk carrier very clearly and we'll keep clear. Luderitz is most famous for the diamonds found here in the 1900s, but it's now a sleepy fishing port. It's an old German colonial town in the desert. Although these rocky outcrops around the port and this red-painted building reminded us of Sweden. Namibia has over 1,500 kilometres of coastline, but only 2 sheltered ports. We've arrived into the southernmost port of Luderitz. Everyone we've met so far has been really friendly and the town's got a nice laid-back feel. Checking in here was the easiest we've had in a long time, and it was also free. It only took us about an hour to get both ourselves and Florence checked into the country.
Luderitz's history with the diamond rush in the 1900s is now in the past, as they found more lucrative areas further south down near the Orange River, but they still have these diamond mining boats here. They have big vacuum hoses to dredge up the diamond-bearing gravels from the sea floor. However, we've not seen these go out in the entire time that we've been here, and they now have massive multi-million-dollar ships out dredging for diamonds off the Namibian coast, so these are probably on their way to being obsolete.
The coastline of Namibia is normally very windy, but here in Luderitz is a good safe place for us to leave the boat so that we can head inland and explore the desert. But before we do any of that, we're going to head ashore with some of our cruising friends and try some of the local food and drink.
Nice.
We are not ready. We are not ready. Who's the brave? Are you going to do?
Yeah.
Should we go together?
Oh, you're gonna do it with me?
Oh, I don't know.
Come on, you do that one, I'll do this one.
Okay.
Anyone want the half?
Does anyone? Joe, come on.
No.
Come on, Joe.
Alright.
Matt?
Go for it. Eat the bugs. Go and eat. Cheers.
No idea. I'm gonna chew it.
You've got to That's pretty good.
I'll put down the middle.
You ate it down the middle. It's actually strangely fishy.
Fishy.
That's a little fishy.
Anyone want it? Come on.
Traditional bugs. Bit crunchy.
It's nice now.
Interesting taste.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's alright.
So it's millet beer.
It's millet beer. Local specialty brewed in 5-gallon buckets.
Nice. Any flavour?
Tastes like if you mixed orange juice and beer.
Oh, it's not so bad.
It's very tart.
It's very much like orange juice and beer.
It's almost got a hint of cider in there, hasn't it? It's almost got a hint of not like sweet cider, but the proper cloudy cider.
That's scrumpy. It's a bit of a scrumpy.
Bugs eaten, local beer sampled. It was time to hit the road. There's a desert out there to explore.
Stopped at the side of the road. This is the Namib Desert, and there's a man-made watering hole here where it's known that a lot of the wild horses that roam the desert come and they take a drink. It's amazing that they can survive here even with this watering hole. It's just such a harsh, barren landscape. Spectacular, but yeah, amazing that they can live here.
We wondered what the horses could be eating, and then we saw these growing wild on the desert floor. These watermelon, or at least I think they're watermelon.
These bitter desert melons grow wild and provide a lot of desert animals with their food and water.
I did not expect to be seeing grassland here, and I certainly did not expect to see ostriches with 16 babies just alongside the road. So that's why we stopped in a hurry.
Oh my goodness, that's so cool.
Even an ostrich egg size, having to lay that many eggs, surely not. 14 kilometres into the desert from Lüderitz, nestled amongst the windswept dunes, lies a place that was once one of the most luxurious towns on Earth. But now it is little more than a ghost town, abandoned to the desert.
Sand is taking over completely.
This town once boasted a hospital, school, theatre, ice plant, and a saltwater swimming pool with water pumped in from the coast. Now sand has poured in through every available window, door, or weakness in the building, filling every room with the desert. In here it's incredible. The dune is, in this corner, it's higher than the doorway.
Just shows how the sand can take over.
One of the things that's so striking about this place is when people lived here, it was the absolute height of luxury. And they had things which were so luxurious that people didn't even have them back in Europe. And now, you can see the state of disrepair that the place is in, and just how desolate and abandoned it is.
Coming here to this dry, desolate town now, you wonder what could bring someone to live in such a harsh and bleak environment. The answer is of course money. Wealth beyond their wildest dreams and the promise of much more to come. Wealth in the form of diamonds.
Back in 1908, this place was so rich in diamonds that people could collect them by crawling along the desert sand and just picking them off the desert surface. They developed lines of men to do just that, with often up to 80 in a row picking diamonds off the desert floor. The town grew as the mining here developed.
Really shows the power of money. This town was only here for 50 years from when it first started to when it was abandoned. And because of the diamonds, it was one of the richest towns in the world. And they could have every luxury shipped in. Most things got shipped in from Germany. I mean, they had a hospital which actually had enough beds for almost the entire population because they were expecting the population to grow. They even had an X-ray machine, the first X-ray machine in the Southern Hemisphere. Now, when I first got told that, I thought, it's amazing they had this hospital and they had amazing equipment and an X-ray machine, but it wasn't actually really for the hospital. It was actually to check people for diamonds when they were leaving the diamond mining area, to make sure that they hadn't swallowed them and trying to secrete them off the site. So, yeah, a bit of a different reasoning, but they still had the first X-ray machine in the Southern Hemisphere.
They even had electricity in their homes here, when in Europe they were still using gas lighting.
It's amazing with all the dunes in the background, eh? Yeah. And those are the diamond areas just over there. It's amazing just looking out these windows and imagining being here, looking out over the diamond fields that are in front of us, with all the workers would have been scurrying around looking for diamonds whilst the overseers all lived in the lap of luxury here. Although it was a very rich town, the richest person in the town was not a diamond miner or an owner of a diamond holding. It was in fact the storekeeper, because everything here, because we're in the desert, everything had to be ordered in, and a lot of it came in from Germany, and she was the person that ordered everything in, including all the luxuries that they had here. The place is so well preserved. All the woodwork is still fine. I would have expected it to have rotted by now. This whole place was built to last. It was abandoned in 1956 or 1958 and just been left to the desert ever since. Now, when we visited places, an abandoned resort in Seychelles that was much newer, it's really been taken over by the vegetation already. But here there's just no vegetation, just dry desert air. So this place is still here. It's just the fact that the sand is coming in and taking over.
Because we're in the desert, water is obviously scarce, and so they used salt water for most things.
They actually had all of their fresh water imported in from South Africa, got shipped up and then brought up here, I think, by train. So they used mainly salt water for washing. They had 20 litres per person per day of fresh water, and they used salt water for everything else. So very much like we do on the boat, except that when we're offshore we use about 5 litres per person per day of fresh water.
We can't help but wonder how long it will be before this whole place is totally reclaimed by the desert and disappears beneath the dunes. This place was abandoned when the market collapsed around the time of the Second World War, and they also found a much more lucrative area for diamonds just south of here. So the whole coastline that we sailed past on the way from Cape Town to here.
How's your sand bath?
It's very hot and very dry. It would make a really good sledge though. If you could get it to the top of a dune, that would be one fun ride down.
It's cast iron. I don't fancy hauling that up in this heat.
It is so hot here today. Not really dressed very appropriately. It's been so cold on the boat. We've been wrapped up in sleeping bags at night and wearing all of our warm gear. But today there's absolutely no wind, which is why we've chosen to come here today. So it's not blowing the sand around. But oh, it's like we're in a different country. The temperature difference. Although the surrounding area is not rich enough to be worth mining for diamonds anymore, there are still some diamonds there, so it's a forbidden area. If we cross the fence bordering the town, we could be hit with a 10-year prison sentence or $1 million fine for trespassing. We've taken a little detour out to the Quiver tree forest near Kolmanskop. And so these are the trees. They're quite a strange looking tree. A key fact is that they're not actually trees, but they're actually aloe plants.
It's kind of a weird, smooth bark, big fat trunk, and then almost like a cactus on top.
So we're just down the road from the Quiver tree forest and we're in a huge area of rock formations called the Giant's Playground.
So all these boulders apparently look like kids' building blocks but for giants. And they were formed by some really complicated process of magma and stuff that we learnt about in the car on the way here, but I've already forgotten.
Lava from volcanic activity has filled loads of cracks in the Earth's surface in sedimentary rock, and then the rock surrounding those cracks has all eroded and left these kind of building blocks sticking up in great big piles like this. It's amazing how far it goes. It's a huge area.
Next time we head further into the desert to hike the second largest canyon in the world, Namibia's Fish River Canyon.
Don't forget to subscribe to catch the next episode. We release a video every 2 weeks.
If you'd like to find out more about behind the scenes on Florence, track our progress across the oceans in real time, find out where we are right now, or ask us pretty much anything, then please head over to our Patreon site and join the crew.
We'd like to thank everyone who supports us to make these videos possible, and a special thank you to our star patrons.
Yeah, the girls are stuck in quicksand.
I'm not stuck, I made it out, but I'm like...
Yeah.
I'm not out.
Amy is not out yet.